You probably saw on the news there's a lot of issues out there with staffing at the Social Security Administration. The Social Security Administration was already at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. Now they've lost another 7, 8, 9,000, probably a little bit more people throughout the country. So, in particular type of programs that the Social Security administers, they're going to have a tough time getting the right check to the right people at the right time. Asked Tim to join us here. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Ed.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about that. And Tim has an option that some people might be out there might be interested in. So that's what we do on this channel is help you all navigate the bureaucracy, make sure you're getting everything you earned from the Social Security Administration. How do I know? I worked there for a few decades, and I've helped millions of people out with all things Social Security. Okay. So what we're talking about today is survivor benefits. So if we all inevitably kick the bucket, move on, shuffle off our motor coil, however you want to put it, and then we leave people behind. So if you have a surviving spouse that you leave behind, there's a couple of ways the Social Security Administration does this in terms of surviving spouse. If the spouse is currently receiving benefits on your record and they are their full retirement age when you pass away, then those benefits are automatically converted from spouse benefits to surviving spouse benefits. So a current spouse, as you know, receives up to 50% of the higher earning spouse's primary insurance amount, their full benefit amount. When that person passes away, they can receive up to 100%. It really depends on how old the surviving spouse is when that event happens. So that is automatic if you are already on the record. If you are not on the record, the spouse is not on the record, then you actually have to contact the Social Security Administration and go ahead and file for those benefits. And that's where one of the issues come in is that with the Social Security being so understaffed right now, your spouse passes away and you get an appointment, but the appointment isn't for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and there's no telling how long that you'll be without that money. So that's going to be a bigger situation going forward. So we decided to go ahead and give some options, and that's why I've got Tim here today. And as everybody probably knows, Social Security does provide a lump sum death benefit. I've given out a few 100,000 of those when I worked at Social Security, and nobody was happy. $255. What am I going to do with $255? That might have been good in the 1950s when it first started, but yeah, it's pretty much a slap in the face right now for $255. So there is an option out there, and this is called final expense or burial insurance, or it goes by different names. And so that's what we want to talk about today. If you've got a bunch of money in the bank and your burial is covered and your leftover medical expenses or any other types of debts, you got a bunch of money in the bank or something like that, then you're probably good. Make sure you join my live Q&A, and if you've got any other questions. But if you want some options, that's what we've got Tim here for today. So, Tim, what is burial insurance and final expense, and what is it? What is it all about?
Yeah, yeah, no, great introduction and great setup. So, final expense plans, also referred to as burial insurance. There's been a couple different names that are associated to it. You probably see it marketed and advertised on TV commercials and things like that. But essentially, what burial insurance, final expense plans is a permanent life insurance policy. It's designed for seniors typically between the ages of 50 and 80. And what it does is it's a permanent life insurance policy that provides tax free funds upon your passing. So when you pass away, a beneficiary that you list as your choice beneficiary, whether it's your spouse or child or whoever's going to be taking care of your final affairs, those benefits are paid directly to that beneficiary of your choice, tax free. So as Ed mentioned, Social Security pays a $255 death benefit, which won't even cover the cost of flowers today. And with some uncertainties and unknowns out there, who knows how long it's going to take. So with the final expense plan, essentially it gives you the opportunity to own that process and those resources, because it is a policy that you own as the insured and the owner of the policy. You control who the benefits go to, who they're paid to, and there's several options out there that really helps fit, or that our trusted agents and advisors can help find a plan that fits your needs and fits your budget, right? So, as Ed mentioned, there's your kind of your basic policy that can, pay, as little as, call it, $5,000 to cover the cost of, cremation, and, just kind of, the necessities that you're inevitably going to have to deal with when you pass away. However, with these products, funerals can get pretty expensive and pretty elaborate.
Mm.
So, there's policies designed to go upwards of 30, 40, $50,000, just depending on your needs and your budget and your health, most importantly, because it's based upon, what you qualify for, not necessarily what you can pay for. So there's some contingencies on that.
Right. I've had, I've helped, hundreds of thousands of people out in that crucial time when they've lost a spouse. They, come into Social Security, and we used to do the surviving spouse and give them the $255 lump sum. And there's always some interesting stories. They had this one where, as the person had bought a burial insurance like that and bought a really high one, and so all of the family could go to Hawaii. It's
Mm,
like, don't be sad. The guy was pretty old, so he's like, "Yeah, I'm good with it." But
yeah.
here's a whole bucket of money. Y'all go to Hawaii, have fun, and drink some mai tais on me. And so yeah, there people use it for all kinds of different situations. So
Yeah.
what are we talking about cost wise for? So if someone wants like a 5,000 or 10,000, $20,000 policy, what
Yeah,
are we
good,
looking at?
good question. So, it is going to be, again, based upon, several different things, primarily your age and your health and the benefit amount that's going to determine the cost of that. But generally, obviously, the younger you purchase it, the better, right? Because there's never going to be a better time to take care of this. Um, your typical policy is going to range, again, depending on what the benefit amounts, the age of the client are. That the average policy is about $60 a month, right? And so that's across the whole spectrum of clients, between the ages of 50 and 80 years old. So obviously, you spend a little bit more, you're going to get a little bit more coverage. But really, it's based upon your health and what you qualify for that really determines what the price is. But just to give you an average, you know, on the low end, $50 to $60, you could spend upwards of $80 to $90 if you want a little more coverage, or if you're getting a little older and you purchase it later. But that's a good ballpark to kind of budget for if you're looking into one of these policies.
Okay. So when the person passes, the surviving spouse or whoever contacts whatever company. So you so when let's backtrack a little bit. So when somebody calls you and sets it up, do you have one company that like one insurance company, or do you check several, or how does that whole
Yeah,
thing
we
work?
we we check several. So we have a tremendous amount of resources when it comes to being able to quote and compare multiple insurance companies to make sure that we're offering you the best available coverage at the lowest cost. So really, most of our business probably comes between, to call it a dozen carriers, 10 to 12 carriers that we typically place the most business with. But we have several options. But there is, I would say, probably a core few companies that we tend to start with, just based upon how competitive the product is, price wise and benefits wise,
Okay.
the strength and stability of that company. Have they been in the market for a long time? That's always something that's really important to us as an insurance brokerage, as well as our clients and our consumers.
Perfect. So, okay, so the people call you up, and then you ask them, their age and where they live and what they're looking for, and then you find the best particular plan for their particular situation. And then if something does eventually happen, um, the surviving spouse contacts that company, and they're paid out almost immediately.
Yeah, so you pretty spot on. So someone calls in and speaks to one of our agents and our advisors. The first thing they're going to do is a needs analysis and kind of determine, what kind of benefits that client is looking for. Like, for example, do they just want to cover the cost of the cremation, or do they want to send all their friends and family members on a trip to Hawaii, and have a special event? I personally have helped thousands of clients, as well as our team has helped tens of thousands of people just this last year with this exact solution. But so we do a quick needs analysis to find out what's most important to the client. The next, we're gonna go through a series of health questions to see which plan they would qualify for based upon their age and their health. From there, we'll take a look at, we'll bring the two together, take the needs analysis, that see what they qualify for medically, and then wrap that into, what can we afford, what's in the budget, for something like this. What did you have in mind? And that way we can really kind of back into what's the best solution for you, and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, based upon what you shared with me, a policy of X amount of dollars in coverage is going to satisfy everything that you're wanting to solve for with your final expenses. This is what that cost would be. Does that fit in your budget? Is that something that you're comfortable with? So we can really, focus on solving the problem and solving the issue, and then see if it works in the budget.
Perfect, perfect. So, all right. So, if I've got the phone number on the bottom there to give you all a call, and this is no obligation. You call them, call y'all up, talk to one of your people there, and they'll ask you the questions, and they'll see if it's right for you. And if it's not in your budget, if it's not something you need, then no harm, no foul, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have a tremendous amount of experience on our sales team. They're very very experienced. We're licensed in 50 states, so we have the ability to serve every American for this need. And yeah, no obligation. Happy to just spend some time with you, share some information about what these solutions look like. If it is a great time, we're available to go ahead and proceed with the application. But if you have more questions, you're always welcome to call back and ask anytime. We'd love to help. We'd love to help any way we can.
Perfect, perfect. All right. So, if you're interested in that, make sure you call the number right there. And I've seen this way too many times, that if you're not interested and you've got a whole bunch of money on your mattress, so you're good. I'm sure you might know perhaps a relative, a distant relative that is not so, hasn't planned as well as you, and they just might need it. So make sure you, share this video with them and tell them, because eventually they're going to come tapping you on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm kind of hard up. And so it's nice to get other people to plan as well. That's what the whole thing is about, right? Everybody planning for the inevitable.
Yeah,
Once we fix that, and we all live forever. And I still think we should go on male pattern baldness first, but the longevity is also good. I understand as well. So
yeah,
all right.
yeah,
All right, Tim. Hey, I sure do appreciate it. And hopefully some people will give you a call and get what they need.
yeah. We'd love to help you. Thank you so much for having us on, Dr. Ed.
All right. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you later.